Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. It's Friday. We got a big weekend. We've got a lot of things to go over. Dan, I mean, it's like name a sport that isn't going on. It's basically, we are locked and loaded. We got a lot to get to. Who's on the show today?
I mean, technically with UFL, football is even going on. I don't think anyone wants to talk about that, but it is happening for sure. Yeah, man, massive Friday show and three of the best guests you can have to head into the weekend. Gianni the Greek, where is the steam going? That's right. Across all these leagues and sports that are in play, where is the money going? Where are the sharp bettors putting their dollars? Yanni's going to let you know each and every single one of those steam moves. Teddy coverage is coming on. NBA, I mean, the playoffs loom here. I have a fun sell me edition for you guys, but two games that maybe have a little bit more gravitas. Cavs versus Hawks and Timberwolves versus Rockets. Teddy's got best bets for you and breakdowns in both of those games. Also going to remind you to check out Teddy's tips here on the channel. And then Marco, doubleheader. That's right. Guardians, Braves, Astros, Mariners, MLB action coming your way. And what will viewers expect with his Deli segment? And he's going to take you all around the world. The Masters green behind you looks insanely beautiful, Andy. So let's talk about how we can make some cash betting the Masters live. I'm going to have a lacrosse play for you, Andy. So the folks have asked. We are here to answer. Loaded Friday show, brother. Let's get to it.
All right, let's bring in Gianni. Happy Friday, Gianni. How are you today?
Hey. Oh, is he frozen in his tower over there? Gianni? Resuscitate him, Andy. Resuscitate him. Before the show was going live, Gianni, you might need to hit a quick refresh, brother. We'll get to Gianni here in just a second. Why don't you hit a quick refresh, Gianni? But no, Andy and I were joking before the show. I was like, Andy, come on. Don't pass out on me here on the show. I got your back, buddy. And little did we know we would have to resuscitate our man, Gianni the Greek. But he's back. Gianni, can you hear us, my friend?
Yes. But the thing is, I just bought this 5G hotspot, and it's just not connected yet. That's why we're going off the Palms room still. So
Gianni, you got to watch out. That 5G hotspot, it might give you COVID. You gotta really watch out.
The battery died, and my assistant isn't here yet, so the battery was dead, and I didn't even know. So it hooked up automatically to the Palms room. Forgive me, but we got plenty of NBA and some Major League Baseball as well. So,
well, luckily we hear you fine, Gianni. So Andy, I'll turn it over to you. So even if the video isn't great, we still hear you great, Gianni. So let's get into it.
Thank you.
Let's start with Major League Baseball. We got one day game, and I believe the rest are night. What are you seeing so far?
Yes, sir. 951 under 7.5 and 7 on Pittsburgh, Chicago. Remember, 7, 9, and 11 are the key totals in Major League Baseball. You want to get on the right side of 7, 9, and 11. 957 under 8.5, Colorado and San Diego. 962, Tampa Bay plus 120. 963 under 8 up to minus 120, White Sox, Kansas City. 969 under 9.5 and under 9, LA and Cincinnati. Mets Athletics is at 971 under 8.5 minus 110. And finally, 980 under 9.5 and 9. Notice they'll bet those totals down to that key number. And 9 out of 10 times, even though the bias of the bettors in baseball is towards favorites and over, just like every other sport. Right now, due to the fact a lot of recreational bettors kind of are taking a step back. The Final Four March Madness just ended. NBA playoffs aren't here. NHL season just ended. NBA ends on Sunday. So it's kind of that slow week. And that's why you're kind of seeing the lines reflecting what the sharps are doing. And all these totals that got steamed under, where usually we'll see the overnights sometimes get manipulated when the market has a lot more recreational participants, where they'll anticipate where that public money's going. They could get out ahead of it. And then when the books are forced to over adjust, they can come back and get a ton of value by betting the other side late through, paper head accounts that guys like myself provide them. But you're not going to get that this week and probably not next week either. So you want to log into that Odds Logic or at least WagerTalk's free odds screen and focus on the sharp books, and you'll be able to pick off what's actually happening. Not a lot of manipulation, because you don't have to really do it, because the books know who the participants are right now. So again, may see some head fakes overnight, but a lot of the stuff you're getting follow through the next morning, and they're betting them down to those key numbers, like 7 on the Cubs game, 9 on the Angels game, 9 on the Dodgers game. That's all sharp stuff that does that. Where when it's like heavy public money on baseball as well, you wouldn't really see that. They wouldn't have had to go under the 9 as well. They would have been able to go under 9.5 and get enough money down. But it's a little bit different right now in bases.
Yeah, I'm looking at the standings right now, and nothing really jumps out. I don't really see a team that's completely overachieving, underachieving. Everything seems to be about normal. Are you keeping an eye on standings and win totals for the season this early in the season?
Yes, and that's funny you said that. I'm right at the point now where I'm feeling I could start putting these power ratings into play. Like he now sent me the with baseball, he's updating me like every 2-3 days at the most. And now that they're up the past 10, they're up to double-digit games. Within another probably week, I'll feel a lot more confident, because we'll have like 20 games in. And I know it's not a ton of a sample size, but it's an entire NFL season. It's 2 college football seasons. So we have plenty of data. And more importantly, we have what you expect, like you just touched on, season win totals, anticipation. We have that to compare and look at some of these teams that may be playing above their skis or below their skis. And real quickly, some of the teams, just based on the power ratings, that are playing below what they should be. The Cubs. Cubs are a lot better than a 500 team. The Phillies are a lot better than a 500 team. Toronto is better than a 500 team. Some of the phonies, some of the teams that are worse than the record reflects, Marlins, they're a phony, 8-win team. Cardinals and Twins probably shouldn't have 7 wins either. And the Guardians probably maybe have 1.5 more wins than they should. And again, this is where you start to add that Pythagorean win totals as well, that I love paying attention to in baseball, because it tells you what the team should have won or lost based on runs scored, runs allowed. And it's good for projections as far as looking forward, because it shows you who's getting lucky from behind, like some of the teams that won a lot of 1-run games. And, luck like that is hard to sustain and maintain for an entire season. So, yeah, it's about that time where I start putting my power ratings into effect, start using the Pythagorean run score, runs allowed, and start grinding in baseball. Because, again, the sample size is now as much of an NFL, as pretty much as big of an NFL season is in the college football season. So I'm trusting it a lot more.
The under, I think the money's coming on the under in that game. There's a lot of wind blowing in Chicago. So keep your eye on the weather. That seems to be the only game I'm seeing with weather.
Yeah, they're top 5. I have them top 5 power rated right now. Believe it or not, the Cubs.
Wow. Yeah. Well, then you're probably going to get some really good value on them.
Yeah, the overall, they're kind of like a public team. You know what I mean? Like, people like the Cubs for some reason. Out here a lot. I think because there's a lot of people from Chicago here, and for some reason the futures always get hit. Bears futures, Cubs futures. They love their Chicago teams here, and a lot of times you won't get at least before. You wouldn't get the best prices here in Vegas. But yeah, I think here's why, and I'm going to tell you this. My guy sends me his projections for end of the season, like who we think, how many games each team's going to win or lose. And as of right now, he believes that the Cubs will win the NL Central, and they'll do so by a minimum of 2 games. That's what he has. He has them winning about 54 point something percent of their games. So they should be about an 86 to 88 win team. And he has them finishing about 2 games above Milwaukee.
All right. What do you see in NBA?
All right. Big NBA slate. Steam sheets filled. I'll call off some sides and a couple totals for you. I'll read off some that had follow through. And here's what I mean. 504 Charlotte -3. That's the overnight that got hit. Then this morning, 3.5 and 4 got hit as well. 506 Atlanta. Overnight got hit at 6.5. This morning, Cleveland +8.5 was the side that got hit as well. Moved down to 527. The Clippers +2, followed +1.5 this morning. And the same thing with Phoenix at -1 and 1.5. They also laid the money line there. And an example like where you didn't see that, San Antonio, Philadelphia, those are the big favorites that they got ahead on overnights. Like they laid Philadelphia -15, San Antonio -17, but no follow through on either of those. A total I'll give you that got hit multiple times with follow through. Washington, Miami, they hit under 250.5 last night in my accounts. This morning I saw all the way as low as under 247. So they were hitting under 249, 248, 48.5, 47.5. The lowest they went is 247. And that's rare from someone that went under 250, 6-7 hours prior. So I don't know whether there's some injuries or some players that got pulled within that 8-hour span. But I rarely see that in the accounts. And last but not least, I'll give you Phoenix Lakers under 219.5, because I know that's probably a public game. And from what I see, at least early on in the book, the public's betting it over. So that'll be one where you have the sharps on one side, the public on the other, with the public on the Lakers and the over, and the sharps on Phoenix and the under. So a lot going on today, even though, we got no hockey and the anticipation of the end of the NBA season.
Before we let you go, any last thoughts on UFC and PFL? I got PFL plays up for clients now, so we like the PFL card.
Oh, good for you. Then that makes me, I'm going to dig into it a little bit. I really haven't. I even had time to really dig into the PFL card. But I'm a little bit surprised that Yuri is still sitting about -115. I thought this line would start climbing back to where it opened. You know what I mean? Where it opened Yuri about -130. And it dropped. And it's still low. Maybe the public just hasn't bet yet. I just got a feeling they're going to bet Hashka in that fight. The other thing that surprised me a little bit is the Reyes money that keeps coming in from -110 to -115 to -130. Okay, early Sharp got ahead of the market. I get it. But now getting it up to like -145, I just think that's closer to a coin flip. Walker has the reach advantage. These guys aren't going to grapple. They're going to stand and bang. There's just so much variance when you get finishes like that. And I mean, Reyes had that nice little 3-win fight streak, but again, you saw he's a little bit chinny and got finished in his last fight. So again, that line surprises me. And finally, the antics of Hokie hasn't pushed sharps away. Like, even though I'm sure a lot don't like it, and obviously there's fans that are fading him, hoping he loses, it's not being reflected in the market. Like anytime the line's going up on blades, you've seen some sharps taking the plus on Hokie. So it seems like sharps do like Hokie, and I'm on him as well. So I'm glad I locked in a little better price than where it sits now.
Yeah, what he did at weigh-ins was bizarre.
Yeah,
y'all can look it up on social media. I'm actually concerned about his well-being, Gianni. I'm starting to think this may not be an act, or maybe something actually.
And Cub Swanson now the favorite. Remember we talked about that, and even when I taped UFC on the line, I said, "Listen, I had to put in my bet early. We're taping 2 weeks prior, and I liked Landwehr, but I'm like, here's what sucks. I liked Landwehr." But I'm not going to get any CLV because all the money's going to come in on Cub as we get closer to fight night and all the talk about his retirement. And that's exactly what's happening. But now that he's like, up to -115 in some places, I don't know, man. What do you think of that fight? Am I on wrong? I'm on an island with Landwehr, but I just don't understand all the love for Swanson at 42 years old.
Well, I can tell you that we've had a couple retirement fights in this year. This year's been so weird, and of course, what happened? The retiring fighters have won. Michael Chiesa.
That's what I'm saying. That recency, but they just saw Chiesa get it done.
They just
but
saw
Chiesa
it.
was a -700. It's a little bit different.
I know. So I would lean Cub Swanson. I will just tell you, we'll be on the under. I don't.
Okay.
These guys are going to stand in there and throw a million punches. Landwehr's chin is gone. These guys are very, very. These guys don't block very many punches.
I like it. I could still get even money on that.
Prefer to do it with their head. Yeah.
Good call.
So, what do you have up for everyone on this Friday, Yanni?
All right. The Steam sheet's already up. I got a 4% in Major League Baseball on it, a ton of NBA, Major League Baseball's on there. And as you know, anything else that comes in, the sheet's loaded up. There's for college baseball, for Frozen 4, for anything that comes in, you will receive it. I have my UFC package up also. 3 bets already, 5%. More definitely coming between now and tomorrow. And of course, I'll have the Steam room on Saturday for subscribers only. So if you're signed up and partnered up really long-term, make sure you don't miss it, because I'm going to break down a lot as far as the blueprint and the game plan for the rest of the spring and summer months ahead. So that's what I got going on. And if I could package up multiple bets, I'll throw that out there as well. And if there's that one piece of gold, head on over to Sports Memo, because I think I'm now up to 11-1-1 on those Sports Memo picks. But I just don't have one every day there. Now, once you start a hot streak, you got to be a lot more selective. So that's the gift and the curse, but I'll take it.
All right, Yanni the Greek, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, Dan, I'll talk Masters right now because it's going on, and if you guys are getting some plays, these guys are teeing off. So today's probably the easiest day as far as conditions go. The pins are in what's going to be the easiest pin placements of the week, and guys are still struggling in the morning. The afternoon guys are this is going to be a brutal afternoon. The greens are already fast, and they're just going to get faster. We saw the afternoon guys struggle yesterday. There was only a couple of them that made it up the leaderboard. I have already they actually took it down on DraftKings, but if you can get Colin Morikawa over 72.5 on his round score, if you can find it somewhere, I would lock that in. His back hurt. He talked how much pain he was in yesterday, and he shot 2 over in the morning wave. Now he's got to go out in the afternoon wave. I think they took it down because they realized, well, first off, they probably got everyone that knows golf bet against Colin Morikawa, and they were like, we better do that. But just this afternoon is going to be very, very tough. So if you're like me and you like taking these round scores, you're looking at the overs with these guys that are starting to tee off. So even Scotty Scheffler is out struggling right now. So very, 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 very tough conditions. So like I said, if you're going to get those overs in, lock them in now, because the books are already moving lines. You can watch it in real time right now. So all right. Big weekend up ahead for us, Dan. You've got you said you expected lines to move, and let's not put these plays in. Let's wait. And the lines have moved.
Yes.
Predicted the market once again. So it was very well done by you. We're coming off a bad day yesterday, guys. My handicapping wasn't very good. I'd been on a really nice run yesterday, caught up with me. So apologies to those that were on board yesterday, but we've got 4% NBA that's up. NBA has been really good over the last month or so. We put in a couple cricket plays that are up. We've got PFL and UFC tomorrow. So we'll be a little bit more PFL heavy than we will UFC. So a lot of plays. If you're not access, you can still use that get 3 days, and you get 3 days for free added on. It's a no-brainer. That way you get you all the way through the weekend, plus an additional 3 days next week. All sports are included, including all of our daily plays for the Masters. So big weekend, a lot of potential units out there up for grabs. We're hoping to grab them. Do you want to do your lacrosse play now? You want to get people?
We might as well juiced. Send it out to you. Yeah. We'll send it out to you now before it starts moving. This is just a simple, this line tells you a story. It's Lehigh and Colgate tonight. Game goes at 6:30. So whether you're watching live or you're watching on the rewatch, a chance to get in on this one. I think you just take Lehigh on the money line. If you want to get a little bit greedy, think that they can win by margin, I think they can. So you can lay the goal and a half. That's anywhere from plus 114 to plus 120. I'd rather just take it money line because, look, the Patriot League has been an absolute slog this entire season. And when you look at Lehigh's away record, they're going to be on the road taking on Colgate tonight. They're 3-3 on the season, but the teams that they've had to play on the road, Richmond, they've had to play Loyola. They've had to play in back-to-back weeks, leading them to this 2-game losing streak. They played the 19th ranked at the time Army, and they've only got higher. And last week they just played Princeton, who's ranked anywhere from 5 up to 3. So they've been playing really good opponents on the road. Now they get to face a common opponent that's always a tough game for them, but I think it's a tougher game for Colgate. They don't match up well. Lehigh's goalie in this game that they just lost to Princeton, he had an all-time in saves. He's playing really well. He's not going to face shooters like he is in that last game. So, Andy, it just missed as a client play. And since we're going to have 2 client plays in lacrosse for you, WT.buzz/AL for free here, folks. Let's ride the Lehigh Mountain Hawks on the money line tonight in lacrosse action. There we go.
All right. Great stuff. Let's bring in Teddy Covers. Getting close to wrapping up the regular season of the NBA. Then we move into the playoffs. Happy Friday, Teddy. How are you today?
So it's great to be here. I'm having a crappy week, Andy. So I'm like you. You're walking around, you got a little black cloud over your head, you're ready to snap out of it. You're like, come on, let's, enough of this. So I'm a little bit frustrated. I'm sure my clients are a little bit frustrated because I'm having a crappy week. That said, it's Friday. Yesterday's rearview mirror, Wednesday's rearview mirror, and all we can do is look forward. Obviously, in the NBA, 15 games, every team in play tonight. Nobody plays tomorrow. Everyone's off, and then everyone plays game 82 on Sunday. I'm not sure how many meaningful games there actually will be on Sunday. There's still a handful of games tonight that have seeding implications, et cetera, et cetera. When it comes to who's in and who isn't, basically the 20 teams that are in have been decided for the better part of the last 2 months. There's been very little drama post All-Star break in that regard.
I can't wait for Sell Me. Dan has every game to go through.
Every game that doesn't mean anything. That's how I knew that Sell Me was going to be very fun to formulate. And Teddy does have 2 other games he's breaking down for you. Was Ski messaged me last night. They do profit picks every day at 1:30, and Ski goes, dude, I'm not doing these games until Tuesday when the playoffs actually start. Ski was like, I'm going to take a little break. So, Teddy, it's tough. It's tough going here in NBA. But if you're reading the tea leaves, there still is an opportunity to cash in.
So I made one NBA bet tonight, and it jumped off the page at me. It still jumps off the page at me. It's up on my page, WT.buzz/TC. But really, don't buy plays, guys. They have a deal right now. That's a really good deal. It's called Summer Spectacular. You get every play every day. That's the NBA playoffs, the hockey guys that do NHL. You have obviously MLB, all the World Cup, all the golf, UFC, whatever else. NFL preseason, week 0 of college football. This package goes all the way through the end of August. Every play, every day. $749. It's almost $600 off. Good value right now, if you're interested in partnering up long term.
Man, now you got me scrolling through the games trying to guess what your play is. The one that jumps off the page. The one that jumps off the page.
There's one. There was only one. And I'll tell you what, it's a kind of day where you spend freaking 5 hours working the NBA card, and you're like, all right, I found one.
I believe that.
And that's all you need.
Digging for gold. Yeah, digging for gold.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into a couple game breakdowns. Let's do Cavaliers and Hawks to get us started. So great game tonight. I'm interested where you think, my opinion, this seems like a pretty ambitious line here for Atlanta to cover the -7.5. I know the Cavs don't have the full squad, but what's your take here? Over under 233.5 as well.
Sure. Just a quick answer to a question in the forum. Andrew asked me if I liked if I was happy about Michigan winning the national title, the answer is no, they did not cover the freaking point spread by I was not happy. My friends were like, "Yay, we won the title." I'm like, "You guys are a bunch of freaking idiots. We didn't cover." I did not celebrate. I'm still mad about them not covering because they were supposed to cover that stupid game and found a way not to do it. So, no, not happy with my Wolverines. Could give a crap. Great. Hang a banner. Have a good time. All right. Now, that's how black my heart has gotten in my 28 years in Vegas. We won a national title. Who cares? We didn't cover the point spread. When we look at the Odds Logic live odds screen for tonight, Cleveland and Atlanta, 7.5, 8s out there for the Hawks, total sitting 233.5. And when it comes to what we're looking, and of course, Amazon Prime doubleheader tonight, and this is the first of two. What's the thought process late in the season? I'm going to start with this. Over the last 3 days, favorites 18-5 against the spread. So, well over 75%, close to 80% against the number. ATS last 3 days. So if you're playing dogs right now, you need a damn good reason. And for Cleveland, I don't have a good reason. This is obviously these two teams played in Cleveland the other night, and all the quotes coming out of that game were, Donovan Mitchell, quote, "I think both teams were trying to send a message in the first game. It's not the playoffs yet, but that was playoff intensity. You could feel it in the arena. It was live." That was last game. For today, officially, Jared Allen's going to be sitting. Donovan Mitchell is going to be sitting. Sam Merrill is going to be sitting. So there's still Harden, Mobley, Wade, Schroeder, Strus as in. I'm not convinced that any or all of those guys are going to play for Cleveland. I'm really not. The Cavs are a team that has a lot of quality depth. And in general, Cleveland has been a value team when some of their key players are out. But for the purposes of tonight's game, I do worry about their intensity because let's not forget, from all reports, Cleveland does not want to move up in the standings. There's no interest for the Cavs in taking on Boston in the second round. They'd much rather take on Detroit, assuming they get out of the first round. But that's the thought process now for Cleveland, not a team that is interested necessarily in moving up in the standings. And the fact that we've got these starters sitting tonight tells us that fairly clearly. For the Atlanta side of the equation, look, Hawks have played good basketball post All-Star break. They really have. And Atlanta, if they win today, they can rest starters on Sunday, which will make a difference for a team that's, a little bit gassed. From an injury standpoint, Atlanta's in great shape. The only guy who's hurt is the backup center, Jock Landale, who's not in the lineup for tonight. But it's a scenario for that Atlanta doesn't have a whole lot of success against Cleveland. That said, all they got to do is win one of these last two games. They're at Miami on Sunday. The Heat are locked in the 10th seed. They could win that, but from all indications, Atlanta's interested. Cleveland, we're not so sure. Favorites are covering in the NBA right now. I'll put it this way. The Hawks are laying this price for a reason. My quote, if I'm playing, I'm laying. Again, if I'm taking dogs the last weekend of the season, there's got to be a damn good reason. This is not that game.
All right. Okay. All right. I didn't see that angle coming from you, but that's why I stick to props. I leave the money lines and the spreads and the totals to guys like you, Teddy. Before we get into the Teddy is such a professional. Just see that? Like I start talking and he just puts up the WagerTalk cup just with the logo perfectly placed so everybody can
well done.
It's such a pro.
Classy move.
Scan the QR.
Keep talking.
It's so well done. It's just he's the best for a reason. Your thoughts going into this playoffs, is this going to be you have the things that have worked for you in the past, just sticking to those? Is this kind of different? How are you looking at the playoffs?
One game at a time.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not worried about what's going to happen in June. I'm not worried about what's going to happen in May. I'm going to look at the playoffs the same way I do every year. And postseason basketball, over the years, we found some real nice rhythms. Sometimes you just get in a rhythm and man, the games jump off the page at you. I tend to have more big ticket plays, 5% plays when it comes to April, May, and June NBA, and the track record is pretty darn good in the postseason. So, but in terms of an overall prevailing philosophy, my prevailing philosophy is react to what you see, but don't overreact to what you see, but don't underreact. It's always, and the single most important factor of NBA playoff, this is what I will say that I've learned over the years. Doesn't matter how good the teams are. What matters is how healthy they stay. Teams whose stars stay healthy win series. Teams whose stars get hurt lose series. Just ask anyone who was back in the Pacers when Halliburton got hurt, or the Celtics when Tatum got hurt, or whoever else. You can go down. We can go through every series in the postseason last year and find who got hurt in the series and which team moved on. It's the same story every year. Healthy teams survive and advance. The injuries in April, May, and June matter significantly.
All right, let's move on to the Timberwolves and the Rockets. This is a Timberwolves team that is dealing with an injury to Anthony Edwards. I'm sure they're trying to protect him pretty good here. Houston, massive favorite here, minus 10.5. They coming off of a easy win last night. They clobbered the 76ers over under 222. How do you see this game?
So it's the second game on Amazon Prime tonight. Houston is must win. Minnesota is locked into the number 6 seed. Now, clearly, these are two teams headed in opposite directions down the stretch. The T-Wolves 2-5 straight up their last 7, and the 2 wins came against Dallas and Indiana, 2 lottery-bound squads. This is a team that hasn't beaten an opposing playoff team since March. Minnesota's not playing well. Houston 8-0 straight up. 6-2 against the spread their last 8. They had a team meeting. They opened a road trip 0-2 and had a team meeting, and they haven't lost since. But it is the second of back-to-backs. That's worth noting. Last night, Houston led by as many as 28 in the third, and that lead was down to 7 points in the fourth quarter. All the starters had to come back in and play major minutes down the stretch. Philly went on a 16-0 run against the Rockets, and that's been a problem for Houston. They have taken their foot off the gas pedal with a lead again and again. And when you talk about, when we're talking about April, we know these teams. That's what Houston's done. And that's why they haven't been a great point spread team in any role. In the end, Amen Thompson played 42 minutes last night. Kevin Durant played 38. Now, we still have the 3, 4, and 5 seeds in question in the West. Who's going to be where? Denver's a game ahead of Houston and the Lakers, but they've got OKC and San Antonio the last 2 games. And OKC and San Antonio are locked into the 1 and 2. Maybe they'll be resting starters. Who knows? But 3, 4, and 5 seeds very much in question. And the Rockets, in theory, trying to move up. Now, Minnesota, there's no Rudy Gobert tonight. But we have all these questionable. Anthony Edwards, questionable. Ayo Dosunmu, questionable. Bones Highland, questionable. Julius Randle, questionable. And it's hard for me to make a case for the T-Wolves if all those guys sit. McDaniels is back in the lineup, Edwards is still dealing with a knee injury. You just don't. I don't know what we're going to see from Minnesota tonight in terms of competitiveness. It's worth noting this series history. Those 6 meetings since the start of 24-25, 2 went into overtime. 1 got decided by 1 point. 2 more were decided by 6 or less. Not a whole lot of double-digit victories here. Houston hasn't beaten by Minnesota by more than 6 points since at least 2022. I didn't go back any further. This is a hard game. All right, I'm not comfortable with taking the points with Minnesota. We don't know who's going to play. Houston's been bad in this role, and they're overvalued right here. So if we're going to play this game, it's got to be the total. And if we're going to play the total in a Rockets game right now, especially with all the questions for the T-Wolves, we got to look at the under. We saw it come through again last night. Houston does play defense. So does Minnesota. Not sure we'll see a whole lot of pace in this one. This is a crime call under the total for the Rockets and the T-Wolves. Not a game where I'm comfortable with either side. And a total, if I have to play it, it'd be under or pass.
All right. Teddy covers. Let's bring in Dan. All right. It's time for Sell Me. Dan, explain slowly how this segment works.
Yes. Okay, so guys, I'm going to give these guys both a side in the NBA. It's one matchup they're going to have to break down without knowing which side they have to give a case for. And whoever implores you to either lay it or take it with their side, you're going to comment below after the video goes live with who you agree with, either Andy or Teddy, and include your WagerTalk username. Boom, you do that, you're entered in to win a free 3-day flex pass if your side covers. I think I did a pretty good job breaking that one down, Andy. So let's see how many people do it correctly. Get ready, because Teddy was talking about, man, this is a hard game to handicap. Man, it's a hard game to find which side I want. Well, Teddy, can I interest you in a 3-7 run team laying 18 points against a 1-9 run team? Both of these teams going 3-7 against the spread during this time. It's the Wizards taking on the Heat. Yes, as out of all the stinky games that don't really matter, this is one of the sexy stinky games that does not matter here. Heat and Wizards. And you mentioned, Teddy, if I need to find a dog at this time in NBA season, there better be a hell of a reason why I want that dog. Well, Teddy, you got to give me one hell of a reason why you're taking 18 points with the Washington Wizards tonight. Sell me on this big home dog, Teddy.
I'm not just taking 18 points with Washington. I believe I'm taking 18 points with Washington on the second of back-to-backs. So
yes,
so on the last set of back-to-backs for the season. So if we're going to do that, there is no case that I can make for putting your hard-earned money on the Washington Wizards. None. Not going to try. And what we've seen from the Wizards is so little defense that it almost doesn't matter how many points they score. They've been a point spread disaster area. But this team did just face Miami last week. In Miami, Washington was plus 17.5. They lost by 16. They hit a bucket at the end to cover the number. And that's certainly well in the realm of possibility here, because you're talking about teams I don't want to lay 18 points with. The Miami Heat at or near. I mean, the Wizards would be higher, but the Wizards will never be laying 18. So for a team that's actually laying 18 points, Miami can't be laying this kind of price. Have you watched the Heat for the last 3 weeks? This team, remember what happened last year in the playoffs for Miami? They lost their first 2 games in Cleveland. They went home. Oh, we're going to fight. They got beat by 50 in game 3, and they got beat by 40 in game 4. They showed no character, no fight. What happened last night for Miami? They got blown out in Toronto earlier in the week. Now we're going to fight the Raptors again. Blown out, not in the game, no character. Miami's not a team we can lay 18 points with. Eric Spoelstra's still playing with his rotations. Washington, easy choice to fade the false favorite.
Wow, a false favorite of 18. Well, Andy, that's the false favorite you have to sell me and the folks on. Sell me 18 points with a team who's on a 3-10 stretch. At least they get to play a 17-63 Washington team. Maybe that's where you start the handicapping.
I mean, the Wizards are not just losing to the playoff team by margin; they're losing to the tanking teams by margins. They just lost by 11 to Chicago, who's trying to lose. They lost by 31 to Chicago. And let me read these margins of teams that are either in the play-in or the playoffs. The Wizards lost by 16 to Miami, 22 to Philly, 19 to Los Angeles, 25 to Portland. New York beat them by, is that 32? Then there's a 21-point loss. You get this team, like half of their lineup is out, and then the rest of the lineup is now questionable. Like they are going to run out some guys here that a lot of basketball fans have not heard of. So this is a Wizards team that congratulations. I thought my Pacers team were going to win the title for the best tank job, but nope, it's the Wizards. It's always been the Wizards. This is the team that traded for Trae Young and Anthony Davis and then just benched them. So they're going to lose. They're going to lose by 20 against a Miami team that Teddy brought up a good point. It's not a great sign for Miami. They're still trying to figure out their rotation, but what a great game to get some practice in on your rotation tonight. Give me the Heat minus 18.
All right, folks, while you finish your dry heaving, comment below who you agree with there. Which side sold you? 18 is the spread. You agree with Teddy and taking it with the Wizards. Comment Teddy with your WagerTalk username. You want to lay the 18 with Andy. Comment Andy and your WagerTalk username. Boom. That's your chance to be entered in for a free 3-day flex pass. Teddy, always a pleasure. Tell the folks about Teddy's tips. That's going to be grinding throughout the playoffs. And also remind them, if you do like or you do want to try and find a winner on the NBA card, Teddy scoured this ugly ass card and found one that jumped off the card, where can they get it, Teddy?
Yeah, there's one best bet on my homepage, www.buzz.com/TC. Although, Dan, I talked with Chris yesterday. It looks like Teddy's tips is not going to be going through the postseason. There's not enough games to do it. So what I'll be doing throughout the postseason, I'll be doing a free play video each and every day as long as there's games. So you can check out the free plays. Be sure, like, comment, and subscribe so you get instant alerts when these videos go live each and every day. Obviously, visit the homepage, www.buzz.com/TC, and have a great weekend, guys. Look forward to giving quality NBA content throughout the postseason. It'll just be in free play form, and obviously here on WagerTalk Today, as long as you'll have me.
Hey, any Teddy is good Teddy, is the way that I look at it. Teddy, best of luck on that play tonight, man. Keep it going, brother. And yeah, Teddy is a guy who over the last 4 seasons has picked up over 170 units in NBA for his clients. So, folks, even though you mentioned at the top he was, hey, bit pissed off this week, like I said, any Teddy is good Teddy, and I want a pissed off Teddy, a guy who's beaten the NBA over 4 last season. So check that out, wt.buzz/TC. He's got a best bet going tonight. So, Andy, I will say, I love the comment here. We appreciate you, but make sure you comment after the show finishes. We got Marco D'Angelo coming up. We're going to get some free plays from Andy as well. And then, John, Matt High, comment below with Teddy and Johnny P, and then we can get you entered in for that free 3-day flex pass.
Yeah, we had a couple that put them in the live chat. Make sure it's in the comment section, guys. The comment section is after the show. Live
and
chat.
And like Carmine said, yes. The live chat we love. We love interacting with you daily. Over 500 people who are watching us live. We appreciate you guys, even in the slow season, chiming in with us here. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And when you comment below after the video, it's a great way to say thanks for the, what is it, Andy? Almost 10 free plays you get throughout the 45 minutes to hour long we're on here with you. So, folks, that's all we ask for. And then you can check these guys out in the premium plays. But, Andy, as aforementioned, Marco D'Angelo, founder of WagerTalk, joining us here on the program. Marco, how are you doing on this Friday? You got to already be getting ready to get derbied up, man. I was scrolling our YouTube page, and I already saw Marco's got early thoughts on the Kentucky Derby, man. This is your time of year, brother.
Yeah, I just got back from Keeneland last weekend, was there for the Bluegrass Stakes. And guys, if you're a horse racing fan and you've never been to Keeneland Racecourse, you got to put it on your bucket list. It's one of my top 2 tracks that I've been to. It's a great atmosphere down there, and got to see Further Ado smash the Bluegrass field, winning by 11 lengths and setting himself up as one of the favorites for the Derby. So, yeah, this is an exciting time of the year when you get to that month lead into that first Saturday in May. Build up all the hype, and we've got NHL playoffs will be going on. We've got NBA playoffs, and I can't wait for the NBA playoff because, we've had a great NBA, since 2020, we're number 2 in money won. But I'll be honest with you, this last month of the NBA season is just wearing on my nerves of trying to handicap who cares, who's playing, and then anybody that has anything to play for, they're pumping the line so high, and they can't even this week pump the lines high enough, as Teddy just alluded to with the way the favorites have covered the last few days. When you get to the playoffs, you can forget about worrying about who's playing, who's taking load management, and all of that other nonsense. You get to the strengths and weaknesses of the teams, and it's back to just straight handicapping. What a pleasure.
Yeah, well, and not to mention NBA playoffs, right around the corner here, obviously starting next week. But it's also moving into Marco D'Angelo money-making time, because the WNBA is a league that you're very selective in, but it's a moneymaker too. So, folks, if you think Marco is slowing down come summer, you're freaking wrong, because obviously you got the diamond and 2 things on the hardwood that you've seen really well. So, Marco, let's talk a little MLB here. You've got a 4% loaded on your page that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But Guardians and Braves in this one, you're liking here the Guardians, obviously as the dog here. Atlanta finally got to breathe. And I think a lot of folks are going to maybe overrate that heading into this Friday game because it was 13 straight days of action, 13 straight games for Atlanta. And they finally breathed on Thursday, and now they're right back to it against a Cleveland Guardians team that, Marco, this is the side that you think maybe wrong team favored here, even though Atlanta's sitting at home. So tell the folks about it.
Yeah, when you start in this one and you look at Cleveland and their starter, Slade Ciccone, he's had 2 starts. First one was dismal. On March 29th, he got rocked for 6 runs. We find out later he only went 4 innings in that game. He was feeling under the weather. Well, that would have been nice to know beforehand, right? And then you saw that they gave him a couple extra days before his next start. He didn't start until April 5th after that March 29th start. Well, he come back in the second start feeling pretty good, and he went 6 scoreless innings, allowing just 1 hit and a 6-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. We also find that during his career, when he's a road underdog of $1.50 or less, his team's 8-3 in his start. So we got some good things to look at with him. Now, I know both teams are sitting at 8-5. And, maybe surprises, from both of these teams to be sitting there right now. And Atlanta sending Bryce Elder to the mound. And you can't fault anything he's done in his first 2 starts. 13 innings of work. He's allowed just 2 runs. And, both of them were unearned runs. He's got a 13-2 strikeout to walk ratio. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm expecting him to have a bad game. What I am looking at is, this is one of my favorite angles I like in pro sports, is when teams return home from a road trip. So often it is a sluggish affair for them. And guys, one of the things I like, and people tell me, why do you bother doing local radio and stuff? And because the radio show I get to do here in town 2 days a week, I get to talk to a lot of former athletes and current athletes. And I get to pick their brain. And I've gone to dinner with a lot of these guys when they've been in town. And one of the questions I always ask them is this angle that I've talked about for years, guys. Is it really a distraction when you come off a long road trip? And every single one of them has told me yes. And it's because you think of these guys as athletes and they're paid to do a job. But you know what? When you're gone for a week, especially baseball, because you're generally going to be at least a 2-city road trip, so you're going to be gone a week or more. When you get back home, you got responsibilities. You got a wife, you got a girlfriend, you've got kids, and that first day is a distraction. So we got Atlanta coming back from a West Coast road trip. We got Cleveland starting a road trip. And generally, when you've got a winning team, that first road game, I like to follow them because you're going to get a focused effort from them because they want to get the road trip off to a good start. So with all that said, I think taking the plus money on Cleveland is the way to go in this game. And that's why I'm taking the the Guardians. Sorry about that one. They'll always be the Indians to me. But the Cleveland Guardians today at a price, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, and folks, if you paid attention, Marco let you know, hey, here's the side that I like. But if you listen in, there's an angle that you can also try and bet, with teams returning home versus teams starting off a road trip. So great stuff there from our man, Marco D'Angelo, not only giving you thoughts on, hey, why don't you take a nice little plus money dog here, also setting you up. And that's how you bet NBA, is spots, is streaks, is trends, and the more data that we get, and that's a year-over-year one that Marco likes quite a bit. Marco, before we get into game 2 here, and I'm really intrigued by what you think about this Seattle team, because we talk all the time about Super Bowl hangovers. Man, it seems like a World Series hangover for this Mariners team, because prognosticators had them, hey, this is going to be another top team. We still like this lineup. And it has been anything but. But before we get into that, Marco, what do you got going this weekend and maybe tonight for clients as well? We mentioned you have a big ticket play that you're liking here tonight. So tell the folks what they can find, wt.buzz/MD. And we got some great deals rocking right now.
We do. And I've got a 4% today. It's my American League game of the week. Earlier this week, I had my first 4% in Major League Baseball. It was my interleague game of the week, and we cashed that one. I believe it was on Tuesday. And I've been very selective so far with baseball. I've only had 6 plays, hey guys, we've cashed 5 of the 6 plays. And, you heard, Gianni earlier saying, as you get more data, his power ratings become stronger and stronger. Well, same thing is for me. I'm a handicapper. It doesn't matter what sport it is. The first, few games, first week of action, I go tentatively because I want to see with my own eyes what I see before I start putting my hard-earned money and my clients' hard-earned money on the games. The selectiveness, hey, 5-1. I'll take 83% out of the gate any day of the week. And tonight we've got to play, and it's only my second 4% play. So we will continue to have more and more plays as we get deeper and deeper into the season. And there's where we're at. So that's for tonight. You can grab that play by itself for $25, but why do that? You can pick up that 3-day, buy 3-day all access, get 3 days free. That is a great offer. It gets you almost a full week. You're getting 6 days for $69. What a deal. The response to that has been so good. That's why we decided to roll it some more here in the month of April. Take advantage of it. You get all the sports. You don't have to worry. Whatever I have, where we have the spots, we throw out, horses, everything going. And now with, the playoffs around the corner, next week, NBA and NHL, this is the time I love. So jump on board, guys, and grab those winners.
I love it. WT.buzz/MD is the quickest way to get there, folks. And the deals are listed right below. So you don't have to memorize any of them. Just head on over to Marco's page and check them out. Those are also good for all cappers on the site here as well. But the 4% are rocking tonight, folks. Grab that 3 days, get an extra 3 days for free. All right, let's talk this Houston and Seattle game, because I'm wondering for you, Marco, Seattle maybe had hoped with this early season woes, hey, let's go to sunny Southern California. Let's go to the warmth in Texas, and maybe finally our bats will come alive. Last in on-base percentage, I'm seeing. Last in slugging percentage. Also the worst market in batting percentage as well. So really, Seattle just needs to shake all that off and get into form. So the road trip didn't work for them. Do you think maybe returning home could be the little recipe that they need? How are you looking to bet this Astros and Mariners matchup and really the series that they have coming up?
Well, Seattle, does it not seem like every single season we come in that Seattle is the darling with all of the experts? This is the year where they're the team, they're the sleeper to get to the World Series and win and all of that. And it seems like they always get off to these slow starts, and then at some point in the season they have that stretch where they win 20 out of 24 games, and all of a sudden they're the team we thought they were. Now, I just got done telling you in the last game that we broke down how I like to fade teams returning home from a road trip. Now, I'll put an asterisk to that, and this is why never use anything as gospel completely. You still have to take every game on its own merit. So it's going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here when I'm going to tell you I like Seattle in this one. Why I'm putting an asterisk, why this is different than returning home from a road trip than any other team off a normal road trip, is this is a team that's returning home. As you said, they're not playing good. Okay, they can't afford to have the distractions. They need to be focused to get this right. So that's the first thing. They are going to be ready to play tonight. The second part of it is it's a division matchup, where when we talked about that Cleveland-Atlanta game, it's easier to look past the team when you return home and not be focused when it's not a division game, let alone an interleague game. Where this is a division game, you need to be focused. You don't want to lose. When you lose a division game, it's like losing twice. So there's going to be more importance on this. Now, we look at the matchup here, and you look at the Astros. They send Imai to the mound. His first 2 starts, he had one good one and he had one bad one. My concern, though, there was one common denominator in both starts, and it was his control. He's only pitched 8 1/3 innings in 2 starts. He's got 7 walks already, 4 in one game, 3 in the other. That's a big concern. And if there's ever a team that needs some help getting some runs across the plate, that would be Seattle right now. So if you're giving them some free base runners, you know what? Maybe we can push a couple of them across. And I do normally say that pitchers, this is file this one for another angle for you. When you have a young pitcher making his first trip through the majors, he generally does have the advantage over the hitters. But like I said, the concern with him is his control. Now, Seattle, on the other hand, they're sending Emerson Hancock to the mound. And you know what? He's been nothing but brilliant in his 2 starts. He's allowed just 1 run in 12 2/3 innings of work. More importantly, and I'm old school. I like the strikeout to walk ratio numbers because, I don't care. When you look at it, it's the oldest stat there. I know everybody likes the advanced metrics, but when you're getting strikeouts and you're not walking anybody, that tells me you've got full command of all of your pitches. And he's got a 14-1 strikeout to walk ratio in 2 starts. He's been money when he pitches in division games. So far in his young career, his team, when he takes the mound against a division opponent, how about 7-1? I'm going to go ahead and look at this one because if there is a team that might get these bats going for Seattle, it's going to be this Houston pitching staff. If you looked at their last 4 games, they've allowed 35 runs in the last 4 games. I generally, don't like to take that team coming home in their first game at home. But as I said, all of those reasons and what Houston's been doing with their pitching staff, this is when the bats wake up this weekend for Seattle. Let's go ahead and take them tonight. Since I think there's an edge in the starting pitchers, a big edge, we're going to go first 5 innings here instead of the full game. Why put it in the hands of the bullpens if we don't have to? I think there's a big enough edge in the starting pitching that's where the real value is. Take Seattle first 5.
Yeah, and Marco, sometimes you just kind of let the line lead the way. And why is a team who can't hit water, as one of our commenters said, falling out of the ferry? Why are they minus 135 favorites in the first 5? I think they can get to them as well. I love the angle there, Marco. Makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. Marco, we already let folks know the 4%ers rocking, but you can buy the play if you want. This all-access deals that we have, that's the better way to attack it. But live here on the channel and for free on the channel, even if there aren't sandwiches to be served up, Marco, Kelly said, Marco, you're giving us the deli, damn it. People need the deli. So what's that kind of going to look like as we move through the summer? Because folks will still get the deli that they know and love, but maybe it just feels a little bit different now.
Yeah, guys, and we're going to continue the deli. I'm going to be doing a deli report here in the next hour, and that'll be up and available later today, early evening. But moving through the summer, what you can expect from the deli is going to be a heavy dose of the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, maybe some WNBA sprinkled in there as well. And we will look at all of the scenarios because the beauty of the deli is we posted on Friday for Saturday games. Well, the NBA, teams aren't playing back-to-back days. So I'll know on Friday who's playing on Saturday, and we can break those games down. And it might just be straight analysis like I do on Bet On It, or it's going to be if there's some kinds of situations that arise, maybe something from the first game in an NBA playoffs. I'll point out maybe an outlier that was out of the norm that really determined that game, that we can pick up some value. I'll be doing just like I do on the shows. You're going to get a free play, but you're going to get a handicapping lesson with every play I give you. That's the way I do things. So continue to watch the deli, and I can't thank you guys enough. You've made the deli a great success the last 2 years that we've been doing it. So that's why Kelly says, you're not taking no time off. And I says, yes, boss.
No, nothing gets me going more than the who's hungry to lead off the deli. Yeah. I'm always hungry for more, Marco. So Marco, appreciate it, man. Best of luck on that 4%er. Best of luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks.
All right, guys, let's cash some tickets.
Yes, sir. And the deli, when it goes live, folks, subscribe. Boom. You're going to get notified when it is live. So Andy, an hour of great content, and yet we still have more free plays for the folks. It's what we do here. Hit that damn like button, folks, because we're not done yet. Andy's going to take you all around the world. Andy, what are we eyeing today in all around the world action? And it looks like your mic is off before I kick it to you, my friend.
Well, it's off because there's vacuum in the background, so I was trying to save everybody from the from the background.
These picks won't suck like the vacuum in the background. Here we go.
Yes.
Andy.
Yeah. Seth asks, isn't PFL live right now? That is PFL Africa. I'll be watching Masters. I'll probably turn on PFL, but the PFL Africa is, let's just say there's not a lot of experienced fighters. You can get some laugh out loud, hilarious moments watching PFL Africa. The last event they had a guy get disqualified for the most illegal knee that you have ever seen in your life. He about murdered a guy, and he was like, "What?" It's like, no, you can't do that.
And is there nothing sacred anymore? Now we have SNL UK, we have PFL Africa. Now we're gonna have what? WagerTalk Today Norway. We may have a spinoff edition coming soon. You'll have to stay tuned and subscribe to find out.
I wouldn't rule out WagerTalk Today Europe. I wouldn't.
Hosted by Jan, our British capper.
Just say it. Pieces are in place. So, yeah. So, but PFL, the main PFL Chicago is tomorrow, and because the guys at PFL are geniuses, they decided to go head to head against UFC 327. Brilliant. All right, let's do some free plays here before we get out of here. So, we talked earlier about the scores. Matthew Fitzpatrick over 71.5 round 2 score. I think this already moved to 72.5 at plus money. So I'd love the 71.5, 72.5, not so much. He was plus 2 yesterday, and he just doesn't play that good here. That's a thing. There's a theme with him. I don't know why, but he always comes into this tournament with really good form, and then he just doesn't play that great. He's got the tougher afternoon tee time. So Matthew Fitzpatrick over their team total. Look at the Brewers over 4.5 on their team total. They scored 0 and 2 runs the last 2 games at Boston, but now they're back at home. They've gone over this total in 5 out of 6 home games. They get a great pitching matchup. Urban for the Nationals, he's got an 8 ERA. The Dodgers shelled him in the last game, and a lot of the batters on the Brewers have a good track record against Urban. So like the team total. And then we'll go to the Pistons and Hornets. Duncan Robinson over 9.5 points. I'm really surprised they haven't tick this up to 10.5, but I'll take the 9.5. He's gone over in 9 straight. He's making 3 3-pointers per game. He's making another 1 to 2 shots. He can hit his free throws, and he scored 15 and 18 points the last 2 games against Charlotte. This is probably going to end up being a client play right after this show. So those are your free plays that we have up today. So, all right, guys, big weekend ahead for all access clients. For myself, buckle up. We got PFL, we got UFC, we got Lacrosse. We already have 2 4% cricket plays that are up. We have a 4% NBA play that is up over at Sports Memo. So if you want a quick little $7 play, you can grab that one. And as always, this weekend, you'll be getting all of our daily Masters plays. I believe we had 3 of them today. So looking forward to a big weekend. Please hit the like button and make sure you comment below whether or not you like my take on whether the Heat will cover or Teddy's take on why the Wizards will cover. Winner will get a free 3-day pass. Thanks so much to all the guests this week. Great week of shows. Let's have a big weekend. We will reconvene on Monday, recap everything, and get you started for next week's bets. Good luck on all your plays. See you over Monday. Take care.